Hello children, welcome to the class. Today let us study the second unit of geography section, India Physiography. In this lesson we are going to discuss about the general features of the landforms of India, the physiographic divisions of India, the important features of the physical divisions and their importance. After learning this lesson, you have to develop the knowledge of recognizing the physiographic divisions of India and to locate the physiographic divisions in India map, and you have to explain important features of physical divisions of India. Children, India is a country having diversity. In all the aspect, India has diversity. Like social aspect, India has diversity in geographical aspect also. It has variety of landforms, it has different type of climate, etc. India is a vast country and it has a variety of landforms. They include mountains, plateaus, plains, valleys, coastal plains, etc. These have influence on the river system, climate, natural vegetation, land use, agriculture, transport, distribution of population, etc. So, all these aspects are influenced by landforms and geographical features. Children, let us discuss about different physiographic divisions of India. Physiographically, India is divided into four major divisions. The first one, the northern mountains. Secondly, the northern Great Plains, the peninsular plateau and the coastal plains and islands. These are the major physiographic divisions of India. Let us discuss one by one. The northern mountains comprise of the Himalayas, the group of young fold mountains. They are the continuous chain along the northern boundary of India. They are the highest mountain ranges in the world. They have the highest peaks, deep valleys, gorges, glaciers and mountain passes. Let us know about the extension of northern mountains. In India, they extend from Indus Gorge in the west to the Brahmaputra Gorge in the east for 2400 kilometers. The width varies from 240 to 320 kilometers. Observe the map. They are broader in the west and narrower in the east. Generally, they have steep slopes towards India and gentle slopes towards Tibet. They have steep slopes towards south and gentle slopes towards north. And in India, they covered an area of about 5 lakh square kilometers. There are three parallel ranges in the Himalayas: Greater Himalayas, Lesser Himalayas and the third one, the Sivalik Hills. These are the three parallel ranges in the Himalayas. Let us discuss about the Greater Himalayas. Greater Himalayas are the innermost continuous and highest ranges. The average height of the range is 6100 meters and these ranges have many high peaks. Let us know about the peaks. in the Greater Himalayas. The Mount Everest, the Kanchanajunga, the Makulu, Dhavalagiri, Manaslu, Nanda Devi, observe the map, and K2. These are the high peaks in the Greater Himalayas. Among them, the Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world. The Greater Himalayas are covered with snow throughout the year. So, these ranges are called as Himadri. Look at the picture. They are covered with snow. The Greater Himalayas have many glaciers like Gangotri and Yamunotri. These are the important glaciers in the Greater Himalayas. And they have mountain passes like Buzil, Zozila and Shipkila. The mountains lying to the northwest of Himadri are called as Trans-Himalayas. They comprise of Karakoram range and the K2 or Godwin-Austen in the Karakoram range is the highest peak in India. Mount Everest is the highest peak in the world. K2 or Mount Godwin-Austen is the highest peak in India. You have to locate K2 in India map. Observe where is K2, and this is the second highest peak in the world. Children, let us discuss about the lesser Himalayas. These ranges are located to the south of Greater Himalayas and they are also known as Himachal. Lesser Himalayas are also known as Himachal. They are 60 to 80 kilometers wide and 1500 to 4500 meters high. See, the height is measured in meters. And the eastern part is covered with forests. In the lesser Himalayas, there are many parallel ranges. For example, Pir Panjal, Dauladhar, Nagatiba, the Mussoorie, the Mahabharat and the Darjeeling ranges. These are the parallel ranges in the lesser Himalayas. You have to know to mention all the parallel ranges. And the lesser Himalayas contain many valleys such as Kashmir Valley, Kangra Valley, Kulu Valley, etc. And the lesser Himalayas are also noted for hill stations. For example, Simla, Ranikhet, Mussoorie, Nainital and Darjeeling. These are the important hill stations in the lesser Himalayas. Children, let us know about the Sivalik hills. The Sivalik hills are the outermost ranges or foothills located to the south of the main Himalayas. Therefore, they are known as Outer Himalaya. Sivalik hills are known as Outer Himalaya. They are the lowest range of the Himalayas with the height of 600 to 1500 meters and the width is about 15 to 150 kilometers. The Sivalik hills extend from Jammu and Kashmir in the west to the Arunachal Pradesh in the east. You have to remember this. They have flat bottom longitudinal structure valley. Observe the map. This is known as dunes. Dehradun is the example for a dune. Children, let us discuss about the importance of Himalayas. The Himalayas play very important role, especially in the economy of India. They act as natural frontiers and they prevent foreign invasion. They prevent cold winds from the Central Asia. And they also obstruct the rain-bearing winds, and this causes heavy rainfall. And the Himalayas have thick forests in the slopes, and they are ideal for the plantation crops. For example, Assam is known for tea because they are suitable for plantation crops. And the Himalayas are the storehouse of minerals. We get different minerals in Himalayan mountains. And the Himalayas are birthplace of many rivers and waterfalls which are used to generate hydroelectric power. Children, so these are the importance of Himalayas. Children, let us discuss about the Northern Great Plain. The Northern Great Plain lies between the Himalayas in the north and the peninsular plateau in the south. And let us know about the formation of Northern Great Plain. It is formed by the depositional work of three river systems. The Northern Great Plain is formed. You may be asked a question, how is the Northern Great Plain formed? See, it is formed by the depositional work of three river systems, namely the Satluj, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. And the plain is formed from the fertile alluvium deposited by the rivers flowing from the Himalayas. The three river systems, the Satluj, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. And the plain is very flat and rocks are not exposed on the surface. Let us know about the extension of the Northern Great Plain. The Northern Great Plain extends from east to west a length of 2500 kilometers, and its average width varies from 240 to 340 kilometers. And the total area of northern mountain is 5 lakh square kilometer, and the total area of Northern Great Plain is 7 lakh square kilometer. And the Northern Great Plain is the largest alluvial soil tract in the world. Let us discuss about the importance of Northern Great Plain. The Northern Great Plain is very suitable for irrigation and agriculture because it has perennial rivers. So, very suitable for agriculture and irrigation, and it has vast fertile alluvial soil because they are formed by the depositional work of the river system, the deposition of fertile alluvium. So, it has vast fertile alluvial soil. So, it is highly suitable for agriculture, and its level lands supports a network of roads. We already know that northern Great Plain does not have rocks. So, it supports a network of roads, railways and means of communication. And they are useful for industrialization, urbanization and trade. And a number of pilgrim centers are located here. So, these are the importance of northern Great Plain. Let us discuss about the Peninsular Plateau. Peninsular Plateau is the largest physical divisions of India. It is the largest as well as the oldest physical division. It was being the part of Gondwana land. The Peninsular Plateau lies to the south of Great Plains and it is roughly in triangular shape. Observe the map. What is the shape of the Peninsular Plateau? It is roughly triangular in shape and its apex is formed by Cape Kanyakumari in the southern extremity and it occupies about 16 lakh square kilometers. So, this is the largest physiographic division of India. The Peninsular Plateau is bounded by many hills and plateaus. Observe the map. Aravali Hill, Vindhyas, Satpuras, Western Ghats, Eastern Ghats, Chota Nagpur Ranges, Deccan Plateau, Malwa Plateau, etc. The Aravali Range is the oldest fold mountain lies to the northwest of Peninsular Plateau and Guru Shikhar is the highest peak on the Abu Hills of Aravali Range. The Vindhyan Range flanks the northern edge of Narmada Valley and the Satpura Range runs in an east-west direction south of the Vindhyas in between the Narmada and the Tapi rivers. Let us know about the Western Ghats. The Western Ghats are continuous range running parallel to the west coast of India from the Tapi valley to Kanyakumari. They are also known as the Sahyadris, especially in Maharashtra and Karnataka. They call Western Ghats as Sahyadris. They are steep on the west side. They are very steep on the west side and smooth in the eastern side. The Western Ghats have many mountain passes like Borghat, Talghat and Palghat. South of the Palghat gap, the Western Ghat continue as Annamalai, Palani Hills and Cardamom Hills. Annamudi in the Annamalai range is the highest peak in South India. Annamudi is the highest peak in South India. Let us know about the Eastern Ghats. The Eastern Ghats run almost parallel to the east coast of India. They extend from Mahanadi Valley in the north towards the Nilgiri Hills in the south. The Eastern Ghats meet the Nilgiri Hills in the south where they join the Western Ghats. The Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats meet in Nilgiri Hills. You have to differentiate the Eastern Ghat and the Western Ghats. The Western Ghats are continuous but the Eastern Ghats are not continuous. They are separated from river valleys like Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri etc. Observe the map. The Eastern Ghats are not continuous. They are separated by river valleys. But the Western Ghats are continuous. And Eastern Ghats are lower than Western Ghats. Western Ghats are higher than Eastern Ghats. And the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats is Armakonda. Armakonda is the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats. Let us know about the Deccan Plateau. The Deccan Plateau is bounded by Satpura and the Vindhyas in the northwest, and the Western Ghats in the west and the Eastern Ghats in the east, the Mahadeva and the Michael ranges in the north, and the Chota Nagpur Plateau lies in the northeastern part of the peninsula. Let us discuss about the importance of peninsular plateau. You have to explain the importance of peninsular plateau in the economy of India. Peninsular plateau is rich in minerals, thick forests and biodiversity. It has influence on southwest monsoons. It obstructs the southwest monsoons wind and it causes heavy rainfall, especially in the west coast of India. And it is covered with black soil, which is useful for agriculture. And the Western Ghats are the birthplace of many South Indian rivers, both west flowing rivers and east flowing rivers, which are useful for the generation of hydroelectricity. And the peninsular plateau is also well known for hill stations such as Ooty, Mahabaleshwara, etc. So, the peninsular plateau plays very important role in the economy of India. Children, let us discuss about the coastal plains. The plateau of peninsular India is fringed by coastal plains on either side. It extends from the Rann of Kutch in the west to the delta of the Ganga in the east. Indian coastal plains are divided into two divisions. One is the western coastal plain and the second one is the eastern coastal plain. The western coastal plain lies between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. It extends from the Rann of Kutch to Kanyakumari. It is narrow, steep and rocky. We can classify the western coastal plain into three divisions. The first one, the Konkan coast, which lies to the south of Gujarat plain, extends from Daman to Goa. And the second one is the Karnataka coast. It extends from Goa to Mangaluru. And the third one, the Malabar coast, which extends from Mangaluru to Kanyakumari. These are the three divisions of the western coastal plain. Let us know about the eastern coastal plain. The eastern coastal plain extends from north of rivers Varnarekha to Kanyakumari. It lies between the Eastern Ghats and the Bay of Bengal. The main features of eastern coastal plain. Observe the map. You have to differentiate the west coast and the east coast. It is broader than western coast and many rivers of South India flow across the plain and they have formed deltas like the Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri. These rivers formed deltas. The eastern coastal plain is divided mainly into two coasts. One is the northern Sarkar, lies to the north of river Krishna, and the Coromandel coast lies to the south of river Krishna. These are the two parts of the eastern coastal plain. Some lagoons are formed in the coastal plains. Observe how is the lagoon. Lagoons are separated by the main water body due to some natural barriers. For example, the Lake Chilka, Lake Pulicat and Lake Koleru. These are the important lagoons on the east coast. Let us know about the importance of coastal plains. Coastal plains provide some natural harbors which help in carrying on foreign trade. Harbors are very essential for foreign trade. For example, Kandla, Mumbai, Marmagova, Kochi, Vishakhapatnam, Kolkata, etc. These are the important harbors of India. And coastal plains are useful for fishing and shipbuilding, agriculture and production of salt. And many beaches are found along the coast and they attract tourists. And the backwaters are used for navigation. So, coastal plains play very important role in the economy of India because they are providing natural harbors, fishing, they are suitable for agriculture and shipbuilding, industries are built and also they are useful for the production of salt, and beaches attract tourists and they are helpful for navigation. Let us know about the islands of India. There are about 247 islands in India. Of these, 204 are in the Bay of Bengal and 43 are in the Arabian Sea. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are in the Bay of Bengal. The Lakshadweep Islands are in the Arabian Sea and they are formed by corals. Children, let us recall some points. The highest peak in the world is Mount Everest. The highest peak in India is Mount K2 or Godwin Austen. The highest peak in South India is Annamudi, and the Eastern Ghats meet the Western Ghats in Nilgiri Hills, and the coast which extends from Mangaluru to Kanyakumari is called as the Malabar coast. Children, I hope you learned all the points we discussed in the class. Write down these questions and write the answers and show it to your teacher. Children, do this activity. Draw the outline map of India and show the major physical divisions of India. Thank you, children.